Hi Scorpio, welcome to your end of May 2017 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. So I'm going to be doing my typical spread, and I'm also going to pick a card from the Sandra and Taylor Energy Oracle deck. I will be doing a focus on love before mid-May. So look on my channel for that. This is a general focus. Sometimes the cards seem to suggest love more than business, and I mentioned that, but I try to be more universal because this is a general reading anyway. So for some people it may, have to do with love, and other people it's their careers. Let me just pick that card right now from the Oracle deck. Oh my God, I've gotten this card for the last 3 readings. I did shuffle it. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Oh well. This is just what's happening, I guess. Okay, so I have to read that description for a 3rd time. Anyway. Yeah, so before even beginning, for some of you there can be a choice. Now, maybe between 2 people. One of them would be someone you've dealt with from the past who is a Sagittarian. I would say also an Aries person and a Leo. So it could be 2 fire signs based on the top row there. Now, if I took this card in terms of, sometimes this can be somebody who's working 2 jobs. This is also about overseas travel, and you see the ocean behind the person. So this could be about debating whether or not to accept a job that's far away from home. And in this context, one of the reasons that you find yourself in this position is because you, this is bad for me to say this, but I was going to say you grew a set. And basically what that means is that you became courageous, because this card is, it's not very spiritual to say that, is it? But I can't help it. That was what came into my mind. The Knight of Wands is a card that's associated with throwing caution to the wind. And so what I can envision someone doing in your position is like just on a whim applying for some job that was maybe in a different country, and you just, it's just so out of character for you to do it, but you didn't think you'd hear anything back from them, and you have, and then you're like, oh wow, now what do I do? The other thing too is that there may be some sort of a situation where you have to choose between 2 people. Now, it is possible also that they are both of earth element, and that would be Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. And as I always say, it doesn't have to be necessarily the sun sign, but they come across in that way, where they are primarily someone who is very practical and, level-headed, so to speak. And it could be that you had an affair with someone that was kind of more of a fling, and that they had no intention of settling down with you. And that person may literally be a fire sign. Now, it's interesting because that card is associated with Sagittarius, but I do really connect it to Aries, because it has this kind of a chaotic energy that I associate. It's fire energy for sure. So that's why it's connected to this sense of an affair, because there is this quality to it that is a bit out of control. And the shadow side of fire is that sense of you can't contain it. It's very passionate, but it's also very hard to hold. So these people are fiercely independent, and you may have gotten burned, pardon the pun, because you fell for this person. Maybe you knew going into it that it was going to be just a fling, but you fell for them anyway. And if that was the scenario, you may be the person that you may be with now, and if you were the one who cheated on someone, is a very dependable person. And maybe you took that person for granted because you know that they're always there. So what the Strength card would be saying, if this isn't an actual Leo individual, is that there's an outer strength, but there's an inner strength. And maybe there's something within you that is lacking that strength at the moment for whatever reason. And maybe that is what caused you to even stray, if you were the one that strayed. It's always possible, too, that you're the one that's being cheated on, and you're kind of in limbo waiting for someone to decide whether or not they want to be with you, because I did get the 9 of Swords. So that would indicate anxiety about the situation. But you know, the 9 of Swords can not only be about you feeling that you have been the one being betrayed, but you may also have anxiety about making a choice, knowing that you have to do it, that you can't keep living a double life, but feeling this sense of like, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. And it may be creating a lot of conflict within you and stress. Now, let me see here, because the same thing applies for any dilemmas versus choosing something at work, for work, because you may feel like you're missing out on a great opportunity, but you can't, you're having a hard time bringing yourself to do it. You may feel like you're afraid of the unknown. And that is unfortunate, because you might miss out on a lot of wonderful opportunities because of being too fear-based. And I wanted to, you know, just let you know that come the fall, come October, you're going to have Jupiter in your sign. So you're going to have opportunities, Scorpio. And because you're a fixed sign, you may be too set in your ways to adapt. You know, some of these things can cause you, you know, it's funny because with the Knight of Wands in the past position, some of you may have become a lot more gutsy in certain ways, but you still have a residue of fear about making positive changes in your life and taking that next step. What crosses you is the Page of Wands. So if there's a new relationship with a fire sign individual, or any kind of new relationship that is kind of a passionate relationship, it may be something that is difficult to really make happen, even if it's something that is ultimately good for you and it's not a negative situation overall, because you may have a lot going on. And perhaps the upper cards are dealing with your work dilemma, and the Page of Wands is dealing with a romantic situation. I will say with the Page of Wands, it could be good news, and yet it's in the challenged position. It could be that everything is being delayed. We are having Mercury retrograde. Mercury is still in its shadow until the 21st of May. But even then, it may be everything is backed up, and perhaps you are waiting to hear from someone and you haven't done so yet, and you're like, is this ever going to happen? You have to honor the things that you can't control, and still live your life and still live in the moment, because then you won't be just on the edge of your seat waiting for something to happen outside of you, but you will be able to function regardless and be happy regardless, and not be acting like your life doesn't begin until you find out if someone is going to be in your life or not, or if a job that you've been wanting is going to come through. So in the challenged position, this may simply mean that things are a little bit delayed. This is the advice, and this is the Hermit card. Usually I will say what is coming in, but it depends on the nature of the card. And in this case, to me, it seems more like advice. And this would be to go within and search your soul for the answers that you're looking for. Don't look to the outside world to provide you with what to do next. Maybe you've been relying too much on outer events to dictate your next move. Maybe you need to get back into the spirit of seeing yourself as somebody who can co-create your life and therefore make things happen. Maybe not 100% of the time, but at least enough to let go of any kind of worry that is overtaking you. Also, the Hermit card connects to Virgo. So I mentioned that there could be 2 earth signs involved, or maybe one of them is an actual earth sign like Virgo. That may be saying that the Virgo person is the one that is the right choice. It might be somebody other than that Knight of Wands, because a Virgo person will be more stable. And maybe it's a person who liked you. Maybe it's not even a situation of you taking them for granted. Maybe, well, maybe you did take them for granted because you didn't think that it would be a good match. But you might realize, especially with that 9 of Swords, you might realize that in retrospect, you might say to yourself, you know, I don't need anybody in my life who is going to generate that kind of anxiety within me. And I need to get into the frame of mind where somebody who is reliable and stable is someone that I really enjoy being around, and that I don't think, oh wow, this person is so boring. By the way, with the 9 of Swords, this could also be that person who may be more of a physical relationship, which I mentioned the Knight of Wands. They could have a combination astrologically of fire and air, where let's say their sun is in Aries and their moon is in Gemini or something like that, or their moon is in Libra. And they are somebody who, or even Aquarius, yeah, and I was thinking about that specifically for Scorpio. But that person, you know, you can determine whether somebody is a good fit for you is the kind of feelings that you feel around them. If they're negative feelings, obviously they're not affecting you in a good way. And this is nice. The outcome is the Ace of Pentacles. So in terms of a job, the job, you start a new job. The portal, the door that you walk through to your new life is right there. And same with choosing the earth sign. This is a very positive sign for money. This could be, you might get some money out of thin air, so to speak. You see the clouds. It could be coming from the universe, a gift from the universe in the form that you never expected. So that can be a beginning to a new life as well. So it sounds good to me. It's funny, I forgot to read you the definition of this card because I was so focused on telling you about everything else. So I wanted to read this before I go, even though I've already taken all the other cards off the table. And so let me just look that up real quick. Hostilities. Defenses up, aggressive energy. This card shows a man raising his sword in readiness to do battle. When it comes upright, it reveals a situation where hostilities toward you are about to be or have already been engaged. The aggressive energy may be verbal or emotional, with someone in your environment being excessively critical, demanding, or hurtful. In a work or social situation, there may be backstabbing or out-and-out slander going on. This is different from the deceit card because the hostile energies are more apparent, more overt. In fact, you may have been living with them for some time, but whether this is new or old energy, now is the time to regain control. Allowing dishonoring treatment from others is an open invitation to the universe to send you more. It may be It may feel risky, but you need to have the courage to stand up for yourself now and always. And as you know, I did pick that Nine of Swords. So that could be someone who is being critical and using their words in a way that is like a weapon towards you. And that's even more reason to get out of that situation. And it doesn't have to be in a private relationship. It could be in a work situation. You may be faced with an abusive boss who never is happy with what you do. And of course, that's not a healthy situation to be in. You may justify it because you may talk, well, I need the money and all that. But as the Knight of Wands talks about, sometimes you have to override your fears and do things anyway. There's a book from like 30 years ago called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And obviously that depends on your particular situation. There may be times when you have to suck it up because your life is just totally dependent on a particular job, or even in a relationship, you don't really have the options. But if you allow yourself to be in that situation indefinitely, then you will get to the point where you become indifferent and you think that you're trapped and you don't even try anymore to get free. So that's one of the things that you have to guard against. So you have to be proactive at some point to get to where you want to be. You can't allow yourself to ever just lie down and accept whatever comes your way. And so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, Scorpio. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have an awesome May. Bye.